It is Monday, January 22nd, 2024, and I've got three best bets in college basketball and NBA for you. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we just try to get to the bag together and make some money. Now, I put out a video on Friday and we lost on that play. Heat and Celtics moneyline parlay just didn't come through for us. 0-1 on the day. You can see our year-to-date record right here, 21-22. I didn't drop any videos over the weekend, but we went absolutely crazy inside the Discord group, cashing on a lot of NFL playoff football plays. So make sure you guys click the link in the bio so this way you guys can join that free Discord group and you guys are staying up to date on all the picks and plays that I put out, even if I don't give out a video. But listen, guys, I've got three best bets for you that I really like today. We have a short slate, so don't go too crazy today. I'm not the biggest fan of all these games that are on the slate today, but I was able to find a few winners today. So let's dive into it. And if you can't, smash that like button for me. I greatly appreciate all the love and support. So for my first best bet of the day, we're going to head to the ACC as we've got UNC taking on a very good Wake Forest team here. And the Tar Heels have started off ACC very competitive in a different way than they did last year, right? 7-0 to get conference play started, and they've been able to win all types of ways against all different types of teams on the road, at home, doesn't matter. But now when you look at Wake Forest on the other side, they've started off the season pretty strong themselves in the ACC. Not too bad, 5-2 in the ACC so far. They beat Louisville, they beat Virginia, beat Miami, but the biggest thing is they have struggled on the road. Lost to NC State on the road, lost to Florida State on the road. They did beat Boston College on the road, but Boston College is, I mean, come on, they're not really the blue blood program of the ACC. Now they have to travel to North Carolina to take on this Tar Heels team. That's why I have to back the Tar Heels today. I do like them to cover on the spread, but the number is a little large. You know, for me, I'm not a big fan of playing large numbers, but one angle and trend that I have identified with North Carolina is their first half, and I think that we should have the ability to exploit it today. So for my first best bet of the day, we're going to go with North Carolina first half -4. Now, I'll put this caveat out there. You probably will be able to get a better number live. You might not. You probably will be able to, though. Wake Forest hits a few shots. They get a 1 or 2 point lead or 10 minutes or so left in the first half. If they're still hanging around there, you might be able to get this under 3.5, 2.5, 1.5. That would be my goal, is to get this on the money line or 1.5, 2.5. But I do think they cover this -4 number, so I'm not really mad at it. North Carolina has started games strong this year, and that's really one of the reasons why they started off this conference play so strong, and then they overall have such a good record, right? If you look at their numbers, on average, they're winning their games in the first half by 6 points on average. So they're really getting off to a sizable lead in the first half. But if you look over their last few games, that number has skyrocketed. Over 14 points have they been winning the first half by over the last 3 games. And if you look at their numbers at home, they're winning at home on average in the first half by 13 points. So this is an opportunity for them to add to that total. They are blowing out opponents in the first half pretty easily, putting the game out of reach, and all we need them to do here is win the first half by more than 4 points. I think they can do that. Now, Wake Forest is a fast-paced team. They do get started on games pretty early themselves. They like to jump out to a lead, and they're on average winning the first half by 3 points, but on the road, that number takes a significant dip as they're only winning the first half on average by 0.5 point in the first half. So if you take all their first halves and you average if they have the lead or not, they're only up by 0.5 point, which, I mean, is not really a real thing, right? So that means for me, a team like North Carolina, who's averaging over 13 points margins at home against a team like Wake Forest, who on the road is barely winning, I like the -4 number that we're getting today. Now look at some of the opponents that UNC has faced and look at their first half margins, okay? Boston College, at Boston College, they were winning that game by 3 points. Louisville, 17 points. At home against Syracuse, 22 points. At NC State, another very tough place to play in a rivalry game, they were winning the first half by 2 points. When they played Oklahoma, a very good offensive team, better than Wake Forest, they were winning that first half by 8 points. When they played Tennessee at home, and a team that was much better defensively than Wake Forest, guess what? They were winning that first half by 21 points. So we need UNC to get up to a hot start like they've been doing all year long. Make sure you look for that live number there, but -4 should be good enough for us today. So let's lock that in as our first best bet. North Carolina winning the first half by 4 points as our first lock. Now for our second lock of the day, I'm going to go to a smaller conference here, and it's a school that probably you might not have heard of, or you probably haven't haven't handicapped, and I don't handicap a lot of smaller schools here on the free three, but given our limited slate today in today's matchup, I feel like we can make an exception because this team that we're going to be talking about, this McNeese State team, is one that I've actually followed pretty closely. McNeese State is taking on Texas A&M Corpus Christi today, also known as the Islanders, and I'm going to take the Islanders today, but I'm not going to take them on the spread. I'm going to take their team total, and I'm going to go under here, 69.5, minus 120 odds is our second best bet of the day. Now, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, like I mentioned, is taking on McNeese State today. That's probably a school that you probably have never heard of, but mark my words, if you're a big fan of the free three, if you've been tapped in show after show, I appreciate the support, but mark this down. If this team, McNeese State, wins their conference tournament in the Southland Conference, guess what they should? Guess what? They are one of those teams that you should look at come March time to upset a big school come tournament time. This team can play. Not only can they play, but they're also very well coached. The reason why I follow this team is because of their coach. Their coach is Will Wade. So, like I've mentioned several times on the channel, I'm a Chattanooga alumni. I went to University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and Will Wade used to be the head coach when I went to school there. But if you look at Will Wade's coaching history, he started at Chattanooga as a head coach, then he went to VCU, then he went to LSU. He was fired from LSU back in 2022 for recruiting allegations and, paying players before you were able to do all that good stuff and all that stuff. But he's still a great coach. He led his programs to 5 NCAA tournaments, including a Sweet 16 run back in 2019. So that's why I said if this McNeese State makes it to the tournament, that's a team you should look for because they're experienced in this place. But I just mentioned that he was the head coach of Chattanooga, right? But keep in mind, before he became the head coach of Chattanooga, he was the assistant at VCU before he became the head coach at VCU. So he was assistant at VCU, head coach at Chat, then went back to VCU as the head coach. But when he was the assistant at VCU, guess what? He was one of the assistant coaches when that Havoc team with Shaka Smart went to the Final Four. So guess what? Defense is the foundation around everything that Will Wade does. And this McNeese State team has picked up right where those LSU teams, those Chattanooga teams, those VCU teams have been, and they're ranked 37th in scoring defense, allowing just 66 points per game so far this season. Now, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they're not the best offensively. They're actually ranked in the bottom third of all of college basketball, ranked 290th in offensive efficiency, and they're in the bottom 20 of all of college basketball in three-point percentage, okay? So that's alone really makes me like this team total. But Texas A&M Corpus Christi gets the 28th most points off a two-point pointers because they can't shoot three-point ball. That means 58% of their offense is coming from inside the arc. Well, guess what? McNeese State defends the two-point shot very well. They're actually 39th best in all of college basketball in defending the two-point shot, and they're allowing opponents just to shoot under 46% from the field. Not to mention that they're ranked in the top 100 in college basketball in defensive field goal percentage and top 50 in defensive turnover percentage. So this McNeese State can play defense. 6 of their last 8 of opponents have gone under this team total with 2 exceptions. And guess what? Both of those schools were Power 5 schools. Michigan scored 76 points when they won that game outright. McNeese State did. And Louisiana, LSU, scored 72 points. And guess what? McNeese State wasn't competitive in that game. For me, I believe this is a huge step up in class for Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And when we've seen them step up in class against really, really good defensive opponents, they have failed to get to this number. They played Houston earlier this year. Obviously, the best defense in the country. 50 points they scored. They played Texas A&M, 43rd in defensive efficiency. Guess what? They only scored 64 points. They played Texas, 61st in defensive efficiency. They scored 55 points. So anytime they played a top 100 defense, they failed to score over this team total. And here they go again against a top 100 defense. The last 5 teams that Texas A&M Corpus Christi has played have been ranked 300 or worse in defensive ratings. Well, guess what? McNeese State is not that. They're actually ranked 84th on KenPom, and they play really slow as well, 305th in tempo. So I think this is a game where Texas A&M Christi won't even get enough possessions to get over this team total. They're going to have a hard time hitting shots. And this is the last thing too. I do not agree with the line movement here, okay? The line has opened up at 5.5 in favor of McNeese State. I get it, they're on the road. This line is spread is moved down to -3.5. I'm going to continue to gauge it throughout the day. If I can get it even cheaper, I'm going to do that. If I can grab it live, I'm going to do that. But what I do like is Texas A&M Corpus Christi team total under 69.5. But I do do also think McNeese State does cover the 5.5 number or the 3.5 number that's out there right now, but track it throughout the day, see if you can get a better number live. This is a top 100 team on KenPom, and like I said, if they win their conference tournament, they don't get upset, watch them come tournament time because McNeese State is legit. So we're going to fade the Islanders here of Texas A&M Corpus Christi, take their under 69.5 as our second best bet of the day. Now for our third and final best bet of the day, I'm going to go with a player prop in the NBA. We don't have the best of slates in the NBA either, but hey, we got to get a little bit of action out there. And you know what? I'm going to go to the most obvious pick on the board. You guys know I'm not a big fan of huge spreads or a huge fan of high player props, but the way I was looking at it, right, I was looking over some of my previous bets recently, and I've been taking picks, or I've been giving out picks like Sabonis 12.5 rebounds, or this guy to get 8.5 assists, right? Like, that is the equivalent of taking somebody to get 30 points, in all honesty. Sabonis at 12.5 rebounds is the max. I mean, he leads the league in rebounds, first and foremost, at 12, 13 rebounds a game. But that's like the max you can get. Jokic, 9.5, 10 in rebounds. Like, come on, like, Jokic, 9.5, 10 assists, like, that's the max assist that you're going to get. So when I started thinking about it, it's like I'm taking people's max prop line in other categories. I'm really just not necessarily doing it in points, but I need to do it in points. And if I am going to do it in points, then I got to go with the guy who just cannot be stopped right now. And you guys know who that is. That's Joel Embiid. And I'm going to take his points over 34.5 as my third and final best bet of the day. Joel Embiid right now leads the NBA in points per game. The dude is an absolute menace. He's averaging 35 points per game, and if you look at his game log over the last several games, he's been scoring at an ungodly rate. 33 points against the Hornets last game, 36 against the Magic, 41 against the Nuggets, 41 against the Rockets, 30 against the Knicks, who do not give up a lot of points in general, especially the big men. 31 points against the Bulls, 31 points against the Raptors, 51 points against the Timberwolves. So Joel Embiid really knows how to score the ball. I love the fact that he's also getting the volume as well. You know that's a big thing for me. Are you getting up enough shot attempts to even go over this? Yeah, well, he's averaging 22 shot attempts per game, not to go along with 3-point attempts a game, and then also 13 free throws per game. So he's killing you a whole bunch of different ways, and now he's going against a Spurs team that is very weak stopping centers. They actually give the fourth most points per game to centers, and then we also know this is a marquee matchup because it's the first time that Victor and Joel will be facing each other. So I hope Joel plays. I mean, he's been missing some games recently, obviously with back-to-backs and injury management, but I did read a stat that if he misses more than like 8 more games for the rest of the year because of that new rule that they implemented this offseason, then he won't be eligible for MVP or All-NBA. So at this point, he really has to play the games. And if he's going to play the games, then he's probably going to get the minutes. And if he's get the minutes, that means he's going to get the points, right? That's the way I think. So against the Spurs defense that really has nobody inside who can stop him, and Victor's definitely not strong enough to stop him, I think this is a game where Joel Embiid eats. He grubs. The game's on an NBA TV, so it's a game that they want everybody to see. And I think this is a matchup here that favors Joel Embiid and the Sixers. The Spurs give up a ton of points to centers, so we've seen other centers grub against them. We're just asking Joel Embiid to get his average. The number is a little bit high. I do get it. So if you want to tease it down and pair it with something else, you know, for a 2-team steam money line or plus 100 parlay, be my guess. But we're going to go Joel Embiid over 34.5 points. I would not be surprised if this guy gets 40 and 10 today against a very weak Spurs team that I do not see anybody inside who should be able to stop him, slow him down. We also have a pretty big spread, around 13, 14 points in this one as well. So that means points got to be scored. So, and the Sixers are at home too. So keep that in mind. Joel Embiid loves to score the ball when he's at home. He's averaging actually 34.7 points per game at home and 11.7 rebounds on 53% shooting from the field and 89% from the free throw line. Super efficient. So Joel Embiid over 34.5 as our final best bet of the day. Let's lock it in. Well, that's it for me today, my friends. 3 best bets, 3 winners that are coming your way. 2 in college basketball. UNC first half, -4. Texas A&M Corpus Christi team total under 69.5. Make sure you look for both of those lines, or really specifically at UNC line, to see if you can grab that live. See if you can grab that McNeese State live as well, or at a cheaper number. And then we're going to close it off with Joel Embiid over 34.5 points as our third and final best bet of the day. All right, my friends, I appreciate all the love and support. Hopefully we'll be celebrating a sweep. We haven't had one in a little while, so we kind of need one. Let's brush off the broom. That dust has been there, and we've been under 500 so far in the month of January. I need to put out some more plays so this way we can get over that number, but we've got a few more days here, about 8 or 9 more days in the month of January to get over that hump. So let's get hot, let's heat up, baby, and let's celebrate some more winners. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's get to that cheddar, dictate your fate. I'll see you guys in the Discord group later, guys.